stand up for your rights. Watch as this sergeant defends citizens' freedoms and rights in a thought-provoking discussion on filming police interactions and property rights. YouTuber and advocate for First Amendment rights Philip Turner was recording a traffic stop near Interstate 35 in New Brunswick, Texas, when Deputy Cameron Shelley from the Cole County Sheriff's Office approached him.
Over here for me, all right?
What's that?
Can you go stand back over where you work for me, sir?
There's something wrong with being here?
Yes, sir, there is. Well, still, I don't want you to be in direct line with that vehicle. I'd like for you to go back to where you were standing. You can continue filming all you'd like, but I don't want you right here.
Am I interfering?
Well, technically, now you're starting to pose into somebody else's private property. With your videoing, yes, sir. Did they give you permission to film inside their truck?
I don't need permission on public.
In somebody's vehicle?
I don't need permission on public.
No, not to film us, you're correct. But to film inside somebody's vehicle, that's an extension of their house, and that is a private place. So you do need somebody's permission to film inside their vehicle.
But is that a crime?
The deputy informs Mr. Turner that it's not permissible to film inside someone else's vehicle without their consent, even if the vehicle is parked in a public area. The First Amendment safeguards the right to film anything within public view. Individuals relinquish their expectation of privacy in such settings. Despite the deputy's assertion that the vehicle is an extension of the owner's home and thus a private space, legal precedents have established the lower expectation of privacy individuals have in automobiles. In the 1976 case of South Dakota v. Opperman, the U.S. Supreme Court determined that the expectation of privacy concerning one's automobile is significantly lower than that of one's home or office. The decision highlighted that automobiles, unlike homes, are subject to pervasive and continuous governmental regulations and controls, such as periodic inspections and licensing requirements. It's a common occurrence for law enforcement to stop and inspect vehicles for various violations, including expired license plates or inspection stickers, as well as issues like exhaust fumes or excessive noise. The court further emphasized that the expectation of privacy regarding automobiles is diminished due to the inherently public nature of automobile travel. Referencing its plurality opinion in the 1974 case of Cardwell v. Lewis, which stated that individuals have a reduced expectation of privacy in a motor vehicle because its primary function is transportation, not serving as a residence or the storage of personal effects. Motor vehicles travel on public thoroughfares where both their occupants and contents are plainly visible. Therefore, the deputies claim that Mr. Turner cannot film inside a vehicle in a public place without the owner's permission contradicts Supreme Court precedent on the matter.
Do you have your information? Your driver's license?
What's that?
Do you have your driver's license or name, date, birth?
For what?
Because now you're a witness to this crime that will be.
What crime is that?
Crime that we got these people in the back of these cars for.
I don't know what crime they committed.
You don't have to know. Okay, they broke the law. They're possessing narcotics. That's why they're in the back of our cars. So, do you have your name and date of birth?
No.
Or driver's license?
No.
So you're going to refuse to be listed as a witness this year if you sit here and videotape the entire scene?
If you need a copy of the video, I can give you a copy of the video.
Well, yeah, but we're also going to need to identify you in our report that you were here videoing, so when we come to get a copy of that video, we can get that.
All right, let me talk to the supervisor.
He said that he won't want to give us his name and date of birth until he talks to our supervisor. So,
and you're probably going to end up going to jail. Right now, you're witnessing in front.
The deputies ask Mr. Turner to provide either his driver's license or his name and date of birth. When he refuses, they inform him that he could be subject to arrest for failing to identify himself, as he was a witness to a crime. Under Section 38.2 of the Texas Penal Code, an individual can be charged with a crime of failure to identify for intentionally giving a false or fictitious name, residence address, or date of birth to a peace officer who has good cause to believe the individual is a witness to a criminal offense. Therefore, Mr. Turner could not be arrested under this statute for merely refusing to provide this information. However, some states do criminalize a witness's refusal to give personal information when requested by a police officer. For example, Section 29212 of the Ohio Revised Code makes it a fourth-degree misdemeanor for an individual in a public place to refuse to disclose their name, address, or date of birth when requested by a law enforcement officer who reasonably suspects the individual witnessed certain types of felonies. Nevertheless, the statute clarifies that nothing in this section requires a person to answer any questions beyond their name, address, or date of birth. Additionally, nothing authorizes a law enforcement officer to arrest a person for not providing any information beyond that or for refusing to describe the offense observed. Due to the constitutional right to remain silent, individuals are generally not required to assist police officers in conducting investigations, and witnesses are not required to submit to questioning unless lawfully subpoenaed. However, witnesses who possess significant information necessary to resolve a criminal prosecution referred to as material witnesses, can be arrested or detained to secure their testimony. In the 1953 case of Stein v. New York, the Supreme Court concluded that interrogation of those who know something about the facts is the chief means to solve crimes, and the duty to disclose knowledge of a crime rests upon all citizens. This duty is so vital that even an innocent person may be detained as a material witness. Many states, including Texas, only allow witnesses to be arrested if they fail to appear after receiving a subpoena to testify in a criminal case. However, under federal law, witnesses can be arrested even if they do not violate a subpoena. Section 3144 of Title 18 of the U.S. Code allows for the arrest of a person if it appears their testimony is material in a criminal proceeding and if it may become impracticable to secure their presence by subpoena. According to the Bureau of Justice Statistics, 5,594 material witnesses were arrested in 2016, constituting 3.7% of total federal arrests for the year. It is highly unlikely that Mr. Turner would be considered a material witness by a court, but it would still be possible for officers to arrest him in good faith, depending on the jurisdictional relationships between the department, the state of Texas, and the federal government.
Well, I asked to talk to a supervisor. He's here, so why can I speak with them?
Because you're refusing to give your information, you'll be going to jail for failure to identify as you're a witness to a crime.
So I need to give you my ID to speak to your supervisor? Is that what you're telling me?
No.
Okay, I need to speak to your supervisor.
Why do you need to speak with him?
Because I requested to speak to him. Because I requested to speak to him, and he's here.
Okay. So what's your point?
He's here, I need to speak.
You've got no part of the
Speak
seat,
to-
right? But you want to speak to our supervisor?
You can speak to him.
Okay.
Yeah, but you'll be in handcuffs. It'll be at the jail. Is that what you want to do?
I need to speak to your supervisor.
Is that what you want
I
to
need
do?
to speak to your supervisor.
Why don't you understand it? You put yourself in this situation right here. We see that? You're on private
what?
property.
Private
Right now.
or public?
You're on private property right now.
Okay, what does that do with the thing?
Do you have permission to be here?
Did the owner trespass me?
Well, this
I
guy
didn't want you here.
actually did tell us he wanted you to leave.
The deputies notified Mr. Turner, who stood just beyond a fence encircling the entrance to a Camping World RV sales lot, that he was filming on private property and that the owner wished for him to depart. While the First Amendment safeguards the right to free speech in public spaces, including recording police interactions, it does not oblige private property owners to permit others' speech. The First Amendment stipulates that Congress shall enact no laws infringing upon the freedom of speech. Even though the Supreme Court established in the 1925 case of Gitlow v. New York that First Amendment freedom of speech is shielded by the Due Process Clause of the 14th Amendment from state government restrictions, the courts have consistently ruled that a purely private party cannot violate the First Amendment. Consequently, the First Amendment only guards against government restrictions on speech. This principle, known as the state action doctrine, implies that private citizens are not bound by public constitutional obligations. Therefore, the property owner was not obliged by the First Amendment to permit Mr. Turner to film on his property. Nevertheless, Mr. Turner did not contravene Texas law by filming the interaction. Section 30.05 of the Texas Penal Code outlines that an individual commits the offense of criminal trespass if they enter or remain on another's property without effective consent, knowing that the entry was forbidden, or failing to leave after receiving notice to depart. Notice can be oral or written communication by the owner or someone with apparent authority, fencing or enclosure designed to exclude intruders, signs indicating entry is forbidden, placement of identifying marks, or visible presence of crops grown for human consumption. Since Mr. Turner was filming outside the fence and no signs indicated he couldn't be there, he lacked notice that entry was forbidden until the deputies informed him of the owner's request to leave. It's improbable that Mr. Turner could be legitimately arrested for criminal trespass under these circumstances. After the deputies informed Mr. Turner of the property owner's request for him to leave, they fetched the Camping World manager to convey the message in person. Subsequently, the manager stepped back while Mr. Turner and the sergeant engaged in a discussion.
What's up?
All right, so I can get you a business card.
Yeah.
But this is what I do. I film what public officials want on public property. I'm a journalist. I gather content for stories. But this officer here was telling me that I had to move back over there. I couldn't stand over there. And I was asking him why. He told me that I wasn't allowed to film inside the vehicle here. But
I mean, that's their privacy too. We got to get their consent to go in, so it makes it any different for you.
well, that's to go in.
Yeah.
But I'm not going in. I'm just observing. That's kind of like equivalent to this is his property, but I can't film it because it's on his property. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, and it's not against the law.
Okay.
So he needs to get educated on that because that's clearly not the case. Okay. Now, am I currently being detained here or am I free to go?
You're free to go, man. I'm here. I came all the way from kind of like the
We need to identify him.
You need to identify me?
Yes, sir, I do.
For?
Because you're a witness to a crime and you sat here and reported the whole crime.
I don't know what crime was committed.
And I told you.
I didn't see
You said that you still wouldn't identify yourself as you spoke for a sergeant. Now you spoke for the sergeant, so I need to get your name and date of birth.
I can give you a copy of the vehicle. I can give you a copy of the video.
I don't need a copy.
I can give you a business
I need
card.
identifying information so I can list you in the report as a witness.
Yeah.
Witness. Right now, you're filling the ID as a witness to a crime.
What crime?
Hey, what's your first name, man?
I'll give you my first name. It's Philip.
Philip.
I'll give you that.
Best case scenario. Let's get here scenario. That female, that male says that we just took against the law, but eight cops against one person, right? So you know who I would want? I would want the guy that was not even involved in this to be my witness. So that's what we're trying to explain to you.
So as a witness?
You're part of any type of information that anybody that comes in. We're gonna have to ID him because he's in our cameras now.
Dude, I already got his business card. He already identified himself.
So he gave his name and date of birth and all that stuff?
I've got it all right.
I said I can go get a business card too. I said that.
Well, that's fine, but here's the thing. You can't leave until we identify him.
Like I said, I already told you, I'm a journalist. I gather content for stories. That's it.
We have no problem with that, man. We just don't like the space.
And that's what I told you earlier. I didn't have a problem with the videos.
Now, sorry. Am I free to go or am I being detained?
At first, the sergeant seeks to defend his deputy's actions, yet Mr. Turner finds no chance to interact with the sergeant as their conversation is repeatedly disrupted by incoming phone calls. During these interruptions, the deputies persist in their efforts to persuade Mr. Turner to reveal his identity. Eventually, the sergeant sets aside the phone long enough to engage in a conversation with Mr.
If I were up in your face, then you ain't know. You did anything, Graham? You good?
Oh, good.
You want to leave the place up door? Like, okay. You trying to identify for us?
Yeah, let's go here. I like before we read the argument. You're not doing anything wrong, and but here's the deal. They got a point there. I mean, it's your worst case scenario is that your camera would be part of evidence, but we're not going to go there because I have a camera. I don't know your camera's going, so I don't need your camera. Now, if something were to happen to where we get into a shooting or something or a fight and somebody gets hurt, then you know what? I'm taking your camera because that's so you got to be careful with that a lot in the future. Okay, when you're doing this,
Because on that one, I'll tell you, there was a shooting on 6th Street that happened not too long ago, and I helped aided them catching the shooter.
And I don't know with that. No. But that's what it's called.
I understand.
It's not that I want your camera because I want you to stop doing this. It's just that, man, you would be surprised how many angles we need nowadays.
I understand that.
You know.
Following their discussion, the sergeant recognized that Mr. Turner posed no threat and had the right to film the traffic stop. Consequently, the sergeant allowed Mr. Turner to leave without insisting on identification. However, Mr. Turner proposed exchanging business cards, a gesture to which the sergeant agreed. 4 days later, Mr. Turner visited the Como County Sheriff's Office to formally complain about the officers and to request body camera footage through a public records request. Despite encountering a discourteous clerk at the front desk, the officers were relatively polite as Mr. Turner completed the necessary paperwork, and the complaint was submitted smoothly. It remains uncertain whether Mr. Turner pursued legal action against the department or the deputies, but it appears that filing a formal complaint was the extent of his intentions.